For us to get started, I'm Ted Zaleski, the Director of Management and Budget for Carroll County. On behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, welcome to our public hearing on the fiscal year 2026 proposed budget. This hearing is being broadcast live on the Carroll County YouTube channel. The proposed budget is available on the county website. There is also a spot on the county website for you to send questions or comments on the budget if you would like. There's a lot of information available about the budget for you to develop educated and informed positions on the proposed budget. I encourage each of you to take advantage of the information the commissioners have made available. Commissioners are scheduled to hold budget work sessions to make any changes to the proposed budget on, well, it says May the 13th. There's actually two sessions scheduled, and the commissioners are scheduled to adopt the budget on May 22nd at 10 a.m. We have a signed interpreter sitting right down here in front of the stage if any of you have need. The hearing tonight addresses the following: the operating and capital budgets, the 6 enterprise funds, solid waste, water and sewer, septage, firearms facility, airport fiber network, the pension trust funds, grant fund, special revenue funds, other post-employment benefit fund, the length of service awards program fund, proposed water and sewer rates, and proposed solid waste rates. Take a minute to describe how this will work this evening. If you would like to speak and haven't already, please fill out a card. There's a table right out in the lobby for you to do that. There are 2 microphones, one over here, one over here. I will call 5 names. When I call those names, if you make your way to one of the microphones and just wait for your turn. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to make their comments. Be a timer up on the screen here. We ask you to respect the time limit so we can keep this moving through the evening. This is by no means mandatory, but a thought for you. If somebody has already said the things that you want to say, there's nothing wrong with just saying, I agree with the points the speaker made before me on this topic. The commissioners will get the idea that you are for or against a particular idea. I know that coming here, sometimes people are passionate about the things they want to say. I encourage you to share your passion with the commissioners, but please be civil, be respectful to the Board of County Commissioners and to other speakers. Briefly summarize the budgets that have been proposed. The general fund, or what's often called the operating budget, $580,983,760. If it seems like I'm suddenly talking slowly, it's to give the signed interpreter time to keep up with me. Capital fund, $128,310,901. Grant fund, $24,783,464. Utilities enterprise fund, $14,388,107. Solid waste enterprise fund, $15,722,670. The OPEB fund, $6,320,370. Special revenue funds, $13,622,610. The pension fund, $14,610,310. Airport enterprise fund, $1,339,090. Septage enterprise fund, $1,015,750. The firearms enterprise fund, $304,000. Fiber network enterprise fund, $756,020. And the LoSAP fund, $660,000. All funds total, $802,817,052. I mentioned that there were proposed water and sewer rate changes. Pursuant to Chapter 51-01C of the Code of Public Local Laws and Ordinances of Carroll County, notice is hereby given of the proposed water and sewer rates for fiscal year 2025-2026, affecting all users on county systems. Proposed rates: water base charge $14.38, Usage, 0 to 10,000 gallons, $11.03. 10,001 to 30,000 gallons, $11.36. Over 30,000 gallons, $11.82. Sewer, base charge per quarter, $20.40. Usage rate, 0 to 10,000 gallons, $13.24. 10,001 to 30,000 gallons, $14.17. Over 30,000 gallons, $15.54. Also mentioned proposed solid waste and recycling fees. Municipal solid waste, $70 a ton. Construction and demolition debris, $85 a ton. Sewage sludge, $90 a ton. Residential automobile flat rate, $8 at load. Minimum disposal fee, $8. Recycling fee, $55 per ton. Scrap tires, commercial loads, $175 a ton. Scrap tires off the rim, $3 each. Scrap tires on the rim, $4 each. Yard trim, commercial, $40 a ton. Bulky waste, $75 a ton. I am now going to call the first 5 names. If you'd please come up to one of the microphones at the front. Dr. Cindy McCabe, Liz Chateau, Tom Mazursky, Lehman Tuttle, and George Foote.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak publicly at this budget hearing. I wanted to take this time to thank you for your support in recent months as we have gone through the process of the AIB waiver on Blueprint fiscal compliance. That reached a positive conclusion, and your support was an important part of that outcome. I appreciate you working with the delegation and the Board of Education to help make it happen. In no small way, your recent years of Board of Education funding was instrumental in the process. I think the level of your local funding was eye-opening for some state officials, and revelations like these have deepened the common understanding between us and state leaders. I also know that your early preliminary commitment of an additional funding in FY26 made a difference as well. That additional funding, which is an increase of $13 million, allows the Board of Ed to avoid some difficult choices that were being considered. Funding a portion of increased ongoing utilities costs with one-time fund balance, closing the outdoor school program, eliminating student devices at grades 3 through 5, maintaining a 5% salary increase for bus drivers and attendants, and honoring the 3rd year of salary increases in our negotiated agreement with our support service employee groups. Your commitment is essential to these items continuing, to state perceptions, but also to the sustainability of our local school system. Our students, our parents, and staff have been through a tumultuous year of questioning what our school system might look like in the future. They deserve a stable school system upon which they can rely. Although we will always face new challenges and new concerns with each passing year, I value your support of the schools and your true partnership in working with me and the Board of Education to seek local solutions to benefit our schools and our students. I ask that you maintain the preliminary level of funding through the budget adoption, and I look forward to continuing to work together with you to best serve our community. Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm Liz Chateau, Executive Director of the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area. We have the privilege of partnering with Carroll County government and nonprofit partners to elevate economic well-being and quality of life through preservation and place-based experiences. And what a special place Carroll County is. Did you know that every county in Maryland is represented in a certified heritage area? We are so pleased to include Carroll County, and we thank you for long-standing county support. Your investment generates impressive return. More than that, there's so much potential here, and we are excited to work with our Carroll County partners to bring even more benefit to the community. So I congratulate you for recognizing that support of the heritage area isn't just good for the soul, it's good for the wallet. Did you know that over time we've secured close to 800,000 grants for Carroll County-based projects? No local nonprofit or government can tap into state heritage area grants except by way of the certified heritage area. That's one reason that funding from Carroll County and counterparts in Frederick and Washington, which have already committed for FY26, is so critical. Our local dollars leverage state dollars for greater impact. Did you know for every $1 Maryland invests in this program, our communities get $7 back? Come July, we may see as much as another $125,000 in state heritage area grants to Carroll County applicants. In the meantime, did you know the Heritage Area has been convening partners to catalyze grassroots U.S. 250th anniversary planning since 2020? Carroll County was the first of our 3 counties to get moving, setting an example and forging ways to commemorate the full span of 250 years of this nation's stories. Did you know we are investing $25,000 from outside sources to develop and market an official geotour, tapping into a lucrative market of heritage travelers who journey to achieve new geocaching goals? The 3-county tour launches in September at the Westminster Library. RSVPs are coming in, and the Best Western locally is offering a room block. These folks will shop, dine, and generate lodging tax right here in Carroll County. I encourage you to keep the return on investment coming to Carroll County and look forward to a partnership that will flourish far into the future. And thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Tom Mazursky. I'm the Director for Miller Resources for Entrepreneurs, which is a shared partnership between the Miller family, Carroll Community College, and Economic Development. Without your support, this program cannot exist. The program was originally designed about 15 years ago by the Miller family that understood that you don't have to have a marketing degree or an MBA to start a business. And they saw that the government programs just didn't work because they require some minimum level of expertise. And that's why Miller exists. I have 2 things I need you to do. Last season, when we had the budget debate, we were asked to do monthly reports and an economic analysis. I need you to review them. What that data shows every month is the success of the program and the clients we serve. We often get clients that come in from those government programs because they feel lost, out of touch. And Miller has started over 300 businesses and have over 1,000 clients since I came here. The second thing I need you to do is, if it's a no and you're not going to fund it, we need to transition. We have 40 clients in process, going from coming in with an idea to taking them through our curriculum of how do you vet that idea, how do you train them to be business acumen and savvy. It's not an easy thing to do. So at a minimum, we owe your constituents, and you owe your constituents, a transition plan at the least. That'll also buy us time to work with the other partners if you drop out to see if we can find another way to fund the program, because the program does work. I hope you have a chance to read all the documents that came in from Miller clients, and it's obvious no one else does it this way. My background is I'm an economist. I did Verizon for 20 years, started as a management trainee, retired, started my own company, telephone company. I made a lot of mistakes, but you learn from mistakes. But I'm here to tell you, you don't want your people to start a business and learn by doing. That's not something you want to do. We prevent that from happening. My age, my grandmother rode a horse to school. That should tell you something. My education and my background, I'm an adjunct professor at Carroll, Frederick Community College, Mount St. Mary's. I teach business, microeconomics. macroeconomics, business math, you name it, marketing, I teach it. And I do that with asynchronous classes. So I'm here to thank you for all the past support. I don't know why all of a sudden the change. The study shows that if you shut the program down, your clients will actually lose money because Miller pays more money into the fund than it takes out. Thank you.
Hey there, I'm Lehman Tuttle. I'm a parent of 2 kids at Sandyman Elementary and one of the co-coaches of this year's Battle of the Books Champions. Go Bookworms. So let's go. Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. School funding is what I'm here to talk about. I know it's a kind of a contentious issue sometimes. It's easy for people, especially passionate dads like me, to occasionally get heated about it and lose their cool. I hope everyone here tonight is willing to give each other a little grace. It's tough, and we're going to navigate it together. So, yeah. I wanted to speak briefly about values, specifically what we cherish as Carroll Countyans, and how a vibrant Carroll County public school system can help impart those values on our kids. One of Carroll County's greatest virtues, and one of the reasons that my wife and I even moved here, is its focus on the outdoors. While other counties engage in reckless building projects, we retain a constitutional focus on preserving the land and teaching our kids the value of the natural world. For some kids, that starts on a family farm or with a 4-H program, but for most Carroll County children, that love of nature starts at the outdoor school. Of all the counties in Maryland, Carroll is the only county to provide an experience like this. It's a clear example of practicing what you preach. The dollars you budget to Carroll County schools have a direct impact on shaping our young people's relationship with nature, reconnecting them to what matters by dragging them away from their cell phones and providing a space to nurture joy and curiosity, and maybe even provide a call to service. I'm an Eagle Scout, which means I lead my life by a very simple principle: be prepared. Student enrollment is increasing in the county over the last few years. Our family is growing. This is our chance to prepare, to take a firm, proactive stand on safeguarding our children's future. We've been on the back foot for a while. Now is the time to plant our flag and say unapologetically, Carroll County really cares about our kids. Budgets aren't just numbers on a piece of paper. You guys know this, you do this for a living. They're statements of principle. Probably the most honest statement of principle that you're likely to find in public life. What do you value? How much do you value it? What are you willing to give to provide for the thing that you value? To make space for it. It's all there in black and white. So if I polled everyone here tonight, I said, hey, what do you care about? What do you care about more than anything in the world? I think probably we all know the answer to that question, even people who are here to advocate for something else. Children are an incredible priority. They're the most important thing. So a budget that does not adequately fund our schools is a budget that does not reflect our principles or priorities. For better or worse, the blueprint crisis and recent operating budget disagreements have woken up your constituents. Speaking for myself, I've come to understand what I've taken for granted as a parent for a while is a very fragile thing. Constantly struggling to provide a top-rate education at rock-bottom prices. The good news is that people like me who were kind of asleep, we're here now, and we're ready to, we're here and we're ready to tell you exactly what we need. Yeah, I urge you in the strongest possible terms to adopt the $13 million increase proposed by Commissioners Kyler, Rothstein, and Gordon. Thank you guys so much, really appreciate it. Yeah, to use that as a springboard to more robust funding in the years to come. Our kids deserve it, and yeah, we owe it to them. Thanks.
Hello, Carroll County. My wife and I, we've lived in Carroll County for over 40 years, and we were very concerned about the budget and the amount of spending that goes on and the things that get approved. My first statement would be with regards to revenue source going forward. You've got demographics, the Census Bureau, you've got U.S. track or facts that deal with how many people in Carroll County that are age 50 and above. It's 40%. That's a high number. So going forward, you're spending more money. I don't know where you're going to get it from. The breakdown, a little bit of that is 65 and over is 18%. So, you know, you've got a source that is getting older. Your people are on fixed incomes. The most recent cost of living for Social Security was 2.5%. When you look at the budget, you see percentages increase way higher than that. So I don't know where you're getting that money from. You know, we don't have deep pockets. The other issue I wanted to bring up too was there was a memo that was written to colleagues from a Robert Windham. They made some changes to salary adjustments. It was 6%, and they increased it to 10%. So, you know, they're taking more money out of us. And then this one really got me. The expanded telework network. They've got the ability to work 5 days from remote location, their homes, in PA. They come right out and tell you that it's okay that if you work in PA, get your salary, we pay for it here, and then you take the money and you go back and you spend your money in Hanover or what have you. I don't like that. And it's not fair. You know, and then we also, that's telecommunicating. We also have people that, my wife and I, we play golf up in Hanover, and we'll see marked vehicles going into Carroll County, and when we get done playing golf, sometimes we'll see 6 or 8 of them going up in the Pennsylvania. You got vehicles being used that are Carroll County vehicles, putting extra wear and tear, and then you come around and you say, well, we need new vehicles. Well, stop using them so much. I mean, it spills into maintenance. It spills into insurance. You know, there's a lot of poor decisions being made. And then in Westminster, the Stoner Family Building, I think it's for homeless people. I think there was 10 families that were in the distillery location, and now they spend $3 million to annex an existing building that has disabled people, which there was a report that it's a bad location to co-mix.
Okay, please wrap up your comments, Mr. Foote.
Okay.
Terry Page, Andrea Burstler, James Jones, and Brian Cox.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Raza Khan, and I'm proud to serve as a Division Chairperson of Sciences at Carroll Community College and as a mentor to many, many students. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight in support of the proposed 2% salary increases for our faculty and staff through the supplemental budget presented by the college leadership. A 2% increase is neither unreasonable nor an excessive burden. It is a message that says our work is valued, that education matters, and that Carroll County invests in those who invest in its people. At the college, our mission is to empower learners, change lives, and build community. I see that mission in action every day. But we are more than a college, Commissioners. We are a community partner. Our students, faculty, and staff volunteer and contribute in the local workforce. In fact, when it comes to our students, 90% of our graduates stay and work in Carroll County. Commissioners, we have been named #1 community college in the state of Maryland. If that is not a kudos, I don't know what it is. But it doesn't stop there. Carroll Community College, a rural community college, has been ranked among the top in the country, not by an accident, but because of the hard work and dedication of our faculty and staff. All of you follow me on social media. You have seen the student success stories and the college partnership with local government businesses and profits. What I post on social media, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, or X, whatever, it reflects what we do every single day. Commissioners, we also recognize and respect your support of the workforce, including the 5% raises for the county government staff and honoring increases for the public school staff, teachers and staff. We are simply asking for a similar recognition, a modest 2%, to help the college continue attracting and retaining the professionals who are helping shape Carroll's future. Now, commissioners, not many people are here, and I'll tell you why. Some may wonder whether coming to speak at a public hearing almost at the end of your budget sessions makes a difference. Tonight, you have the opportunity to show that it does. By including this increase in the final budget, you affirm that public voices are heard and that the college works truly matters to the county we proudly serve. While a 2% increase may not seem like much on paper, commissioners, please know it carries the quiet weight of dignity, signaling that even the small gestures can honor great commitments. For many of our employees, this modest increase helps with groceries, childcare, or simply breathing room in a tightly family budget. I'm not a fan of TV, but there's one show that I do watch, Star Trek. And if you do, and as Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Star Trek The Next Generation would say, make it so, commissioners. Thank you for your time, continued support, and a strong leadership.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Terry Page, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Our family moved to Carroll County in 1985. Both of our children attended Carroll County schools K through 12. We were told by some people in our community that Carroll County had excellent schools. What they said was right. Both children graduated, went to college, and established incredible careers. The very foundation of their success happened in Carroll County schools. They had excellent teachers who inspired them, challenged them, cultivated their critical thinking skills, and held them accountable for their work and assignments. I have no children in school, so why am I here tonight? I, along with everyone in this room and every citizen in this county, have a civic responsibility to advocate for adequate funding for the children and teachers. I'm appealing to you to give them the funding they need to provide the same excellent education my children received. I fear that it is undermining the professionals who dedicate their lives to our children. I leave you with these words from Benjamin Franklin: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Thank you.
Good evening, commissioners. My name is Andrea Bursler. I'm a Carroll County resident and also the executive director of our award-winning Carroll County Public Library. I want to take a few minutes tonight to say thank you for your support of the library. It is due in no small part. That support is a large part of the legacy of Carroll County being an award-winning and state-leading library. The sustained funding you provide year after year allows us to plan to look forward. It allows us to make our services, programs, and resources refined and impactful. And rather than having to do day by day or year by year, we can look out 3, 4, 5 years in the future. And that makes us a better library. With over 96,000 cardholders who have engaged the library in some manner in the last 18 months, Carroll County Public Library provides all of its partners with access to over half of the county's population. We are pleased to be able to assist our partners whenever they're needed. That partnership goes and extends, of course, to include the county, as well as public schools, the community college, and so many more. Again, I want to take this moment to say thank you. I look forward in working with you to provide for the county's library in the out years and to discuss the possible Eldersburg project. But for this year, thank you. You have allowed us to keep our services going and our staff provided for.
Hi, my name is James Darrell Jones. I'm president of NetPay 2K International Corporation, home of the credit card store and answer tax and business services. 3 or 4 years ago, I received an email about an event at the community college from the Miller business team. They were giving the event for would-be entrepreneurs, and I was like, "Wow, that sounds great." But instead of attending, I sent them an email and I said, "How can I help?" So what do you know? They let me speak. So once or twice a year, I've had the good fortune of being able to speak to the students or clients of Miller, and it's my way to give back. So what do I talk about? I talk about advertising, talk about business formations, how to keep your books. I've talked about pricing. But when Tom and I talk about, what I'm going to talk about, it all has one thing in common. We have to get down to the basics, okay? Because the need is so great at that level, So my favorite client is the guy who calls me with 2 or 3 years of bookkeeping and taxes to do. And it's great for me, but it's obviously not a great place for them to be. And we have to sometimes we have to do some forensic accounting to get the job done. But I'm fortunate there we know how to do that. So I basically just want to say that Miller fills the need for many people. And they are the benefactors. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sam Riley, Celeste Jordan, Lisa Maizano, Julie Walsh, Amanda Jakowski.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Brian Cox, and I am the dad of 7 kids. All of them have graduated from Manchester Valley or are
currently in Manchester Valley High School in Manchester. But I'm here mainly to advocate and to echo what Tom Mazursky said about Carroll Community College and Miller. They've been really vital to my pathway personally to entrepreneurship. And for the last 15 months, I have relied on the expertise of all 3 in my attempts to purchase a local business in Baltimore. Carefree Boat Club has 160 locations around the world, but I have been membership director for the founding clubs for about 18 years. But for the last year, I've been attempting to secure funding to purchase a controlling interest in a local club location that operates out of Baltimore. Thomas has made himself available for meeting by phone and in person, has always been responsive by email. So I feel like, and I'm sure he does too, it has been a long saga, but he has always been positive and encouraging. His professionalism and his expertise and guidance have helped me immensely, and he has never asked for any compensation at all. He and the center have been an invaluable resource to me, and I appreciate, again, the opportunity to talk with you, and I hope that, I don't know what stage, frankly, we are at as far as the funding goes, but I hope that you will continue to fund his endeavors in the future, and like I said, it's been very important to me. Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sam Riley. I'm a Carroll County resident and president of the Union Mills Homestead Foundation, a position that is unpaid. I believe that you as commissioners certainly have an endless number of important priorities to address in this budget process, and we certainly respect that. And on behalf of the Union Mills Homestead staff and our Board of Governors, we wanted to thank you for your funding of the $20,000 grant that is provided to the Union Mills Homestead Foundation, as well as other critical capital investments in the county-owned property, including some paving in recent years and the mill wheel replacement. We believe that nonprofits such as the Union Mills Homestead Foundation, the Historical Society of Carroll County, and the Heart of the Civil War Heritage Area provide valuable services, critical services to Carroll County residents at great value to the taxpayers. I know you heard from Liz Chateau previously, and I know Jason Alari is here today on behalf of the Historical Society. All of these organizations, again, provide these critical services. The Union Mills Homestead Foundation provides particularly valuable services as an operator of a county-owned facility. We have not sought any increase in our funding in recent years. And like everybody here, our expenses continue to go up. Instead, what we do is we increase our fundraising efforts and we rely on our tremendous volunteers. We had an incredible event this past weekend. Hundreds and hundreds of hours of volunteers hours are put into these events to make them successful in order to defray costs and avoid any further burden on the taxpayers for the operation of that historic site. We value our partnership with the Carroll County government, and we thank you for your support.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. I am Celeste Jordan, President of Carroll County Education Association. I want to begin by thanking everyone who came together across political parties and perspectives for working together towards a shared goal of helping Carroll County Public Schools. Carroll elected state officials, Senator Reedy and Delegate Stanko, and others who put aside their personal and political opinions about the blueprint to do what is best for the Carroll County Public School students. Carroll County Commissioners, who made the commitment to an additional $13 million over the planned CCPS budget to meet operational costs and to show a good faith effort to the state to meet the needs of the students. Members of the Carroll County Board of Education, who made the request to secure more funding for CCPS. Paul Lemley, MSEA President, and Sean Johnson, Executive Director of MSEA, who worked with Senator Reedy and Delegate Stanko and us, Carroll County Education Association, for their willingness to collaborate, listen, and find common ground. The superintendent and her CCPS staff, who included the certified educators unions in the CCPS Blueprint Fiscal Compliance Work Group so that we could better understand all aspects of Blueprint implementation. Over the last 3 years, CCPS and CCEA have been working collaboratively to meet a variety of Blueprint obligations. Last year, we were able to create and implement a career ladder with required $60,000 starting salary years early. To our incredible community, thank you. Your support has meant so much to the educators across our county, whether you showed up to meetings, wrote letters, shared your voice, or stood outside of meetings with supportive signs. Your actions made a real difference. In times when it mattered most, you chose to speak up for our students and educators, and in doing so, you showed just how much this community values public education. Your efforts remind us that real progress happens when we put community first and focus on what unites us. As we move forward, I encourage everyone to stay engaged. The work isn't over, and your continued involvement is essential. By staying informed, speaking out, and holding decision makers accountable, we can keep pushing for strong public schools for our students and educators deserve. Commissioners, I want to thank you for your continued support and for the additional $13 million in additional funding to CCPS. If there is any possibility of increasing the amount even a little bit, that'd be great. But we truly appreciate the commitment you have collectively made to our students of Carroll County. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lisa Masano, and I'm a parent of 3 CCPS students. These past several months, the school communities throughout Carroll have been under intense stress, holding their collective breaths, pending a number of decisions surrounding the budget and staffing crises that will affect all public school students and staff in the county. I commend you for listening to the community and including the requested $13 million in the FY26 budget to keep CCPS operating at a level that is acceptable to the community. With the granting of the Blueprint waiver, we have been given the gift of additional time to plan for the future of our public school system. Our schools have funding challenges unrelated to Blueprint, but Blueprint has amplified those challenges. It is in the best interest of the county as a whole to figure out how to financially support CCPS so that drastic staffing changes can be avoided when Blueprint is implemented in the near future, allowing Carroll County to keep its excellent reputation for public schools. To put it in perspective, even with that $13 million increase over last year, CCPS will still be forced to lay off 3 clerical staff from central office and make $400,000 in cuts to instructional materials to balance their operating budget. CCPS is already the leanest school system in the state when it comes to non-instructional staff. Therefore, they will have even fewer staff in central office next year to navigate Blueprint implementation plans, work with the AIB financial consultants, and process a new charter school application, all while running the school system. When forced to make cuts, CCPS has consistently chosen to prioritize staff in the classroom for the sake of their students, which should be applauded. However, the $400,000 cut to the instructional materials budget equates to about $9,000 less for each of the 44 schools. Multiple PTAs and PTOs have already contribute toward paper and ink due to insufficient school budgets, so cuts to instructional materials will only exacerbate this issue. Despite the county providing above maintenance of effort funding, CCPS will still make cuts next year to balance the operating budget. Cuts year after year put CCPS in an unsustainable position. Our county needs a plan to meet the needs of CCPS going forward. More investment in CCPS must be a county priority because it is essential to our children, our future, and our community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julie Walsh. I'm a mother to 5 children in 4 Carroll County Public Schools. We live in Mount Airy, and I have kids ranging in age from 1st grade up to 9th grade. I'm part of the Carroll Education Coalition, many of whose members are here tonight. I have been one of the people running down to Annapolis and testifying at different meetings, both locally and for the state. I provided public comment at the AIB's meeting, and we encouraged our community to reach out. The AIB ended up receiving over 1,300 emails from Carroll County residents, so we're so grateful to everyone who's here and who has weighed in. Those of us involved in this effort, most of us are parents. We are in our kids' schools all the time. We're volunteering in our kids' classrooms. We are donating to their fundraisers. We are attending their events, and we are falling in love with their teachers and their staffs. As it has been said, all of the talk about what could be coming in the next few years in Carroll County is visceral to parents because we know these teachers, we know these staff, and we know the incredible impact they have on our kids' lives. You know, education is made up of a million different factors, but the fundamental is always the classroom setting and the relationship between the kids and their teacher. And we are concerned as parents about what it's going to be like for some schools having 40 kids in a classroom and for all schools losing library staff, etc. We are so grateful that Carroll has been given a temporary reprieve regarding Blueprint with the AIB waiver decision, but it has not been given a full permanent reprieve. It's short term. And so we are asking you to please honor the $13 million in the preliminary in the preliminary budget, but also please look to the future because these issues are not going away, and we will continue advocating to the state. But we firmly believe that Carroll has a big role to play here, and in order to be taken seriously at the state level, Carroll needs to needs to contribute more. So we are especially concerned about this $13 million this year because it's what allows us to stay almost where we are. Not quite. As Lisa detailed, there will still be cuts, but it allows us to be almost where we were this past year. If we lose it, we really fall behind. And in the coming years, we need to demonstrate to the state that we're not going to fall behind, that we're going to continue to honor our schools and our students and our teachers. And so we respectfully ask for you to approve that $13 million and to look toward the future and figure out how Carroll County can fund the school system that it wants to have. Thank you.
Okay, before you start, next 5 names: Cindy Porter, Josh Wilhide, Sharon Wilhide, Renee Cross, and Patricia Maley, I think.
Okay, good evening, Commissioners and Mr. Zaleski. My name is Dr. Amanda Jiskowski. I'm speaking to you today not as a political candidate, but as a parent and a public education advocate who's gravely concerned about the future of our schools and the prosperity of our beautiful county. I want to begin by thanking each of you and the Board of Education and our delegation for your support of the Carroll County Public Schools waiver request, and to the hundreds of community members who stood up and spoke out and helped secure its recent approval. But we must make no mistake. This waiver was not a free pass, it was a lifeline, a temporary extension of time and not an exemption from responsibility. The Accountability and Implementation Board made it very clear, fiscal compliance with the Blueprint for Maryland's Future is still mandatory. What we gained with the waiver was a critical opportunity, some breathing room to rework a compliance plan that better supports all learners across every school without dismantling the very programs and personnel that our students rely on. The clock is already ticking. If we squander this time, we will face even more painful cuts, deeper inequities, and greater risk to student success. So we must act now, not next year, not when it's convenient to the election cycle, but now. The waiver process laid bare what our system has endured: a decade of budget reductions, the loss of over 375 staff positions, the closure of schools, ballooning class sizes, and an alarming shortage of instructional support staff. And just today, the pending results of a local mayoral election could mean the addition of 1,800 new residents to the already overcrowded southern part of our county. As a parent and frequent volunteer at Freedom Elementary, you've heard me share on many occasions examples of how our schools are strained and in some cases literally molding and crumbling. We haven't even begun to reckon with the future growth headed our way. To be clear, we cannot meet the demands of Blueprint compliance or prepare for this growth without sustained strategic investment in our schools, starting with the full $13 million in addition requested to the FY26 operational budget. This is not optional. It is the bare minimum needed to maintain stability while we build a plan for long-term compliance. Without it, we will see increased class sizes, the erosion of vital student supports, and setbacks in equity that will take years to undo. The community has spoken. As you heard, over 1,300 written comments were received, people attended town hall after town hall, and there was unified advocacy across parents, educators, and local leaders. The AIB heard us. Now we are asking you, the commissioners, to hear us again. Fund the full $13 million of additional funding request at minimum. Build a planned increase into next year's budget, and give CCPS the foundation it needs to move forward and not backward. Let Carroll County be known not as the system that had to ask for more time, but as the system that used that time wisely and boldly to do what's right for our students. Thanks.
Good evening, gentlemen. First, I'll say I absolutely hate public speaking, and so that is a sentiment to how important I think this is. I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak, and I would like to echo the sentiments of those who spoke on the behalf of CCPS. I would also like to add 2 additional items that have really been thinking about that are in addition to what's already been said. I am able to be here today because my father-in-law, who is a 50-plus year resident of Carroll County, who is 85 years old, is babysitting my children. He lives on a fixed income, and he has expressed over and over and over how important his grandchildren are to him and their future. If we don't invest in our children, what legacy do we have? It is so very important to him, and it's so very important to us. He realizes that his life on this earth is finite, but when we invest in our future, we invest in ourselves, in our community, and the beauty of what's around us in this world. He also realizes that he does not want to go to the supermarket and be helped by a person who has not had an equal and adequate education. He does not want to be served in our community by people who are not, or clearly not educated. And also from my perspective, in addition to what we've already heard, I realize that our property values are very tied in our bedroom community, where people come to live in our bedroom community, are very tied to what we have here in our bedroom, which is our school system. People are coming here, they're staying here, they're increasing our property values, they're increasing your tax revenue because they want to be here because of our school system. That is so, so, so very important. I cannot watch my property values tank, and I certainly don't want to see the rest of our community suffer because of our property values tanking, because of certain mandates that are placed upon us. And that brings me to my additional comment, is that I realize these mandates are placed upon us, and I appreciate your flexibility and all of the hard work you've put into making sure that we have what we need right now and working on what we can do to ensure our future. Thank you again for your time and for your hard work.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Cindy Porter. I'm an education support professional currently working in Carroll County Public Schools as a special education paraprofessional. I am in my 26th year in our school system, and I wanted to come here tonight for a couple of reasons. First, I wanted to say thank you for being part of the collaborative effort deeply felt across our county and our state to help our school system manage through these difficult times. But I also wanted to bring a public face to what that $13 million increase in the operational budget for CCPS would mean. As I said, I'm in my 26th year in Carroll County Public Schools. I have worked hard. This is my profession. This is my career. And I'm here on behalf of the Carroll Association of School Employees because I am also their president. I represent clericals and the assistants in Carroll County Public Schools, and I'm also here in support of our custodial and maintenance staff. These are the people who greet people at the front door of our schools. They greet parents, they handle problems. The folks who clean our bathrooms, who clean our cafeterias, who take care of all the needs of our physical school facilities, and also for what I do and others do as an instructional capacity, helping some of our most neediest students. And those needs have ever increased since the pandemic and the rapid increase in behaviors because of the mental health effects of the pandemic. In my 26th year, and trying to hone my craft and having presented professional development at the local level and just recently again at the national level for the second year in a row, last year I made less than $39,000 in my career. And as a single woman, I can't afford to live in Carroll County. And that makes me sad because I really love the students I work with. And I'm speaking for many others who hold more than one job. For 12 years, I worked 3 jobs, and for 14 years, I worked 2 jobs in order to survive. And the only reason I'm not doing that now is because of some physical limitations as I age. But I love what I do in Carroll County Public Schools. I represent education support professionals who are part of the educational team in our school system. We are a total team that works to serve the students in our county, and we want people to recognize that we weren't included in the blueprint. So when you're looking at an operational increase for our school system, that means the ability to honor the third year of a 3-year closed contract for us. 3 years ago, we negotiated in good faith with the school system. And when I talk about the money that I earned last year, that included the first 2 years of that closed contract, which included a 5% raise and a step increase. Before your willingness to help us make that $13 million increase in the operational budget, I wasn't going to be afforded the third year of that raise. And I'm one of the fortunate ones at the top end of my salary scale, and because I have benefits. So I'll ask, as we go forward through this blueprint process, remember all the educational support staff in your schools who are working with the neediest schools as part of our total education team. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak here tonight, Commissioners. It's good to see you, community. Carroll County Public Schools serve over 25,000 students. These are our children, our future workforce, and the heart of our community. They are supported by over 1,800 teachers who are dedicated professionals that carry the weight of our educational system every day. When we underfund our schools, it is not just numbers on a page. It is those 1,800 teachers, and more importantly, the 25,000 students who will feel the consequences of the inaction. The Business, Economic, and Community Outreach Network, the Beacon Study, shows that CCPS yields a 44% return to the economy. That means for every dollar spent on CCPS, 1.44 comes back into our economic workhorse. That is a remarkable number, especially when compared to the proposed secondary stabilization funds of 5% that is being proposed in this budget, which is returning only 4.3% year to date. The math is simple. Our schools are one of the most effective and impactful investments we can make for our community. Yet, each year, we debate whether our public schools deserve the funding they need to meet even the basic expectations. Meanwhile, Carroll County's budget has grown an average of 6.9% annually over the past 5 years. There is no financial crisis, and claims of impending revenue contraction are speculative at best. We are not talking about raising taxes. We are talking about making informed, moral budget decisions where the resources we already have. What we cannot keep doing is asking the PTAs and PTOs and the parents to make up the difference. The practice is not sustainable nor just. PTAs should be supporting enrichment and not underwriting the gaps of teacher support or basic materials. The burden of funding schools should not fall on bake sales and donations. And while some may take comfort in the blueprint waiver, let's be honest, this is not an exception. It is a delay that pushes today's problems into tomorrow's budget. We have an opportunity right now to fund a portion of those obligations and ease the financial future strain on the budget. This is responsible governance. This isn't just about policy, it's about the people. It's about the 25,000 students who deserve better and the 1,800 teachers who continue to go above and beyond despite the insufficient support. We must act now, not because we're forced to, but because it is the right thing to do. I yield my time back.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Sharon Wilhide. I am a parent of 2 children at CCPS schools and a teacher. I know you're hearing over and over again, schools, schools, schools. But the largest portion of any budget is usually the most important. So the largest portion of your budget goes to Carroll County Public Schools, which means Carroll County Public Schools is the most important part of your budget, period. I have had teachers come up to me from all over Carroll County thanking me for speaking up and advocating for the schools and for the teachers because they are afraid. They are afraid to speak up and say, we need more money. They are afraid to come and say anything at any of your budget meetings or hearings or anything because they're afraid they're going to lose their job. I know there are some here that are brave enough to come, and I'm so thankful for them, but there are lots of teachers all over the county who are afraid and have told me that they are afraid, and thank you so much for talking to the commissioners, and thank you so much for speaking up, because they have been underfunded for too long. And I know discussion has been about underfunding and funding and the history and the past and all that, but we are so lucky in our community to have phenomenal PTAs and PTOs across the county that support our schools. They raise money. We had a spring fling that raised over $10,000 a few weeks ago. We have amazing PTAs and PTOs. However, they shouldn't pay for paper. They shouldn't pay for ink. They shouldn't pay for projectors, for curriculum materials. That's supposed to be provided by the school system. However, our PTAs and PTOs across Carroll County pay for things like ink and paper and projectors and curriculum and software and things that the students need to learn. We want to educate our children. Our children are everything in the future. One of the future Carroll County commissioners is sitting in one of Carroll County schools. Not right now, it's 7 o'clock at night, but during the day, one of the future commissioners could be in one of our schools. We want to fund our community. We want to fund our schools and our children and everything. The sad thing I just found out about is that there are many PTAs and PTOs that are being shut down across the county because there is no one in charge to run them. Literally right up the street at West Middle, there's discussion about shutting down the PTA because there's no one in charge and stepping up to be able to run for president or to run for the board. If those PTAs and PTOs continue to shut down, which there are schools in our system right now who do not have a PTA or a PTO to help fund them, if there are no more PTAs and PTOs, then what? Who's going to buy the paper? Who's going to buy the projectors? Who's going to buy the materials that our children and our teachers need? Our teachers are heroes. They get kicked, they get spit on, they get things thrown at them every single day. We need to fund our schools at the bare minimum, that $13 million, in addition to additional, ideally, as Celeste Jordan said, I agree with her, that we need additional funding because as the PTAs start to shut down, who is going to pay for all those things? Thank you.
I wish to begin by thanking the commissioners for giving us this opportunity to talk. As a mother of 2 students and 2 children at Carroll County Public Schools, and as a small business owner right here in Carroll County, some of the problems that we have faced include decreased revenues for small businesses and increased need for physical labor, while supplies or operational budgets increase, which makes it difficult for parents and also for businesses to make ends meet. I'd like to thank also Mr. Thomas Mazurki and the Miller Resources for allowing us to come over and try and explain some of the issues, how important they have been to our company for JR Melly Engineering. So for me as a small business and as a parent, I'd like to say that there have been some valuable services that they have produced, and that includes like grants back in 2020, and up till now they still support small businesses with grants because they understand what's going on. They also help with all these business networking or partnerships, which also help us with marketing a lot. And they also help us navigate, they guide us through all these problems and obstacles that small businesses encounter all the time. So just like I said earlier again, I wish to thank our commissioners one more time for supporting our small businesses and also supporting our schools. Thank you.
Okay, BJ Phelps.
Talk tonight. Will that work? Can you hear me okay? Sorry, I'm not dressed appropriately. I had a track meet to go to, and I barely made it here. Okay, so hi, my name is BJ Phelps, and I'm a registered nurse. I've worked in the nursing field since 2009. I started my education at Carroll Community College. I earned my undergraduate degree from University of Maryland and a graduate degree from Stevenson University in nursing education. I'm a certified nurse educator, a certified case manager, delegating nurse, a senior home safety specialist, and a certified dementia practitioner, and certified Alzheimer's disease and dementia care trainer. I teach for the Maryland Department of Health at Springfield Hospital Center, Stevenson University, and Carroll Community College, and I provide care for children within the Carroll County Public School System at Outdoor School. I have resided in Carroll County for 25 years with my husband, where we raised our 2 children while caring for a World War II veteran in our home for nearly 10 years until he passed at over 100 years old. Lastly, I'm also the owner and founder of Placing Seniors with Families. We offer a new approach to high-quality senior care provision by helping seniors in need of assistance find compassionate families to live with. As qualified professionals, we vet families and seniors, find compatible matches through comprehensive assessment, help families to increase home safety, provide customized senior care training, facilitate introductions, and assist with development of a contract for harmonious living. Have you ever thought about who's going to take care of you when you're older and how much it's going to cost? Did you know the average cost of assisted living in Maryland in 2023 was $6,900 per month? Did you know last year only 15% of assisted living facilities in Maryland met the minimum care staffing needs? If you could choose between paying an outrageous amount of money for less than adequate care from unfamiliar people to support a corporation, or living with and supporting a family at a reasonable cost and receiving high-quality care, where would you want to live? When a senior chooses to live with a family, they are also helping a family to earn income from home, spend more time with their children, eliminate child care costs, teach their children how to care for others, and provide the type of care for a senior that they would want for themselves. Raising our children with a senior in our home was one of the best decisions we've ever made. We're now dedicated to matching other families and seniors to live their best lives together. Placing Seniors with Families will create more high-quality housing and care opportunities for seniors at an affordable cost, income for families, and cultivate life-enriching experiences for generations to come in Carroll County. Without the customized support of the Miller Resource Center at Carroll Community College, I could not have started my business to help our community with a new approach to senior care. Although I am knowledgeable in nursing, I was not in business. I didn't have the funding to hire all of the many experts needed to make educated business decisions, including consultants, accountants, and lawyers. The Miller Center educated me on countless business topics, from naming my business to establishing a legally sound foundation. I was able to invest my money to get up and running with licensing, a website, and marketing instead. We have had a tremendous outpouring of support from the community and are currently featured in the prominent Carroll County magazine. I would not be here today in a tough entrepreneur business market if it weren't for the Miller Center. Please continue funding for hardworking citizens like me to flourish and be able to support Carroll County in continuing to be the best place to live and play in Maryland. Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, that's the last of our speakers. That's the last of our speakers.
I want to thank everyone who came out tonight and everyone that spoke. I know some of you support the others that are speaking, and that's great too. And thank you for coming out. We have, next week, we have 2 budget sessions.
I think they're in 2 different weeks, but yeah.
So next week and the following week, we have 2 different budget sessions before we do the final budget. And we encourage everybody, email, contact us. We read them all. We listened to everyone tonight. Fellow commissioners, anything else? Thank you very much. Thank you, Ted.